Well, we welcome you to this Christmas Eve. A word of encouragement, Merry Christmas to all of you that are watching this today. And it is such a joy to be a Christian at Christmas time. And I just revel in this time, not just because of the great festivity of it, the festive nature of it, but the glory of what we have in Christ. But as you study the Christmas story, I think it's very fitting for us to take that, and as we think of encouraging ourselves in these days, to realize that at the time of Christmas, it was a dark, dark time. 400 years since God had spoken through Malachi. Those silent centuries has got to have been just horrible. You think that goes back to the beginning of our culture here in America. That's a long time when you think of 400 years. Then you have the darkness of a pagan country overrunning Israel. And they had been overrun since the Assyrians and then the Babylonians, the Persians, the Greeks, and now the Romans. And so the stomping of military feet along the pathways of Israel were heard all the time. It was dark also because Judaism had become corrupt and had become a works-oriented religion. It was a terrible day. And so in the midst of all of this, God showed himself to the remnant, to Zacharias and Elizabeth, and then of course to Mary, and then Joseph, Simeon and Anna, and the shepherds, and on it went. And the light began to shine in a very dark world. But we've got to understand that Christ's ministry, from the beginning all the way to the end, you start with Herod and all the way through, the opposition to Jesus Christ, the darkness of the hatred of the world, is seen in the beautiful story of Christmas. But that's what makes it more beautiful than it would be, is that it is so filled with light, it is so filled with hope, and Jesus Christ overcame the evil, and none of what Satan threw at him could stop him from accomplishing his work. That's why in 1 John chapter 3, we read in verse 13, "Marvel not, my brethren, if the world hates you." And if the world, as the Lord said in the actual Gospel of John, if the world hates me, it's going to hate you. And so as we think of what Jesus Christ has done for us, as we think of his glory that was manifested at Christmas time, his total loyalty to accomplishing his purpose for us, we ought not be thrown when we sense that opposition sometimes, not often, but coming against us. And so, whatever might be discouraging you about what's going on in the world around you or in your situation, remember Jesus. And so, let him lift your heart. You're part of him. He won the victory, and so will you if you trust him. And you will win if you're saved. You're going to go to heaven. You're not going to go through all that the world's going to go through. You're going to be able to rule and reign with Christ. You have a great future ahead. And that's why Christmas is so glorious. And so we need to be encouraged that we are part of that whole conflict, and yet Jesus won by coming and gaining the victory at the cross. Well, I trust that these spiritual realities will encourage your heart, and may God give you a wonderful Christmas Eve time tonight and then tomorrow. May God richly bless you on Christmas Day. What a blessing it is to serve the Lord. Merry Christmas, and may the deepest blessings of God be upon you and your family.